Dragon Ball fans, welcome to GameCast's definitive destination for all things Dragon Ball. I'm your host, Sully, and today I'm joined by Mark. How are you today, Mark?
I'm good. It's one wonderful Goku day.
Yes, so for those that you are not aware, we're actually recording on Goku Day, which is 9th of May, and it's the 9th of May, I'll just double check. Yes, 9th of May here in Australia and Japan. Obviously, this day is more for Japan than any other region. That's probably why a lot of you haven't even heard of it. Interestingly enough, though, Mark and everybody, we're expecting big news on Goku Day. So you're probably thinking, well, why the hell are you recording on Goku Day when it hasn't concluded? Unfortunately, that is the best day for Mark and I to record at the moment. However, just a little FYI and heads up. If you reach the end of this recording and discover that we've missed a major piece of news regarding any news that surfaces on Goku Day, which we are actually expecting news on Goku Day, I will capture a little update recording of myself discussing that at the end of this video. So obviously we're recording before, and if anything transpires that we miss, I'll capture at the other end of this day, today, at the time of this recording, and I'll append it to the end of the video. So just a quick heads up on that. But Mark, what are we covering today news-wise for video games and anime? What have you got on the news side? Fire off the headlines at me.
Yeah, so for games, the first one's just a tiny bit old, like maybe a week or two ago. Super Dragon Ball Heroes Ultimate World Mission, the Switch and PC game that we finally got. Some people have been data mining the Steam version and Switch version, and found on the Steam version that there's about 21 DLC packs scheduled for the game.
Whew,
wow! And for the base game, there are a few noticeable sort of areas that they're missing. Like not all of the Tournament of Power was covered. Initially, none of the Broly was covered. And a few other bits and bobs here or there. And so they've launched the first DLC pack, which is actually a free update, which leads everyone to believe that the future of the game will all be free updates. And it's the first of the Dragon Ball Broly characters, which includes Broly-era Goku and Vegeta that can fuse into Gogeta Blue, as well as, I think there's shirtless Broly, normal state, and then just normal state Broly. So we don't have Berserker yet, and things like that. But we do have Broly movie Bardock as well as Gine, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And so that's the future of Dragon Ball Heroes. We're going to get 20 more DLC packs.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah,
that's actually incredible.
Yeah, they're just going to keep building on this game, and with Steam as well, people are going to mod the crap out of it.
Yeah. Now, just to quickly pause you. I was just wanting a bit of a news headline before we jumped in, but let's just jump into it because we're already there. Yeah. We're already talking about Dragon Ball Heroes.
Yeah.
Mark, you've been playing Dragon Ball Heroes.
Yes.
What's your takeaway for that? Because I was going to get it, and I decided against it because it just looked a little bit too quick time eventy with the action bar and all that kind of stuff. I like the idea of collecting cards. I like the whole idea of it, but it just didn't. The actual gameplay mechanic, there just wasn't enough for me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I get that it's a card game. But I don't know, it just didn't click with me. But what is your takeaway on this?
Yeah, look, I enjoy it for what it is. It is one gigantic QuickTime event, and it is just a huge fan service game. But I don't mind it being a QuickTime event and being very gimmicky, like when you have to do Kamehameha, like a special Kamehameha, you have to slide the card around like in a big K, and it's kind of cool. But like the sort of like regular meter clashing thing is so annoying because the enemy AI is designed like the arcade game in Japan, meaning that this was a direct port. So the AI is determined to beat you in every single challenge so that you would lose and in the arcade put in more money. But in this one, it's just like, no, the AI just wants to stomp you.
So is that annoying? Just annoying?
It is annoying, but it did come with its own sort of like fun thing of building an entire deck of cards that is completely counter to what the enemies can do. So it's like they go, oh, they always win their challenges thing. Yeah, we're just going to turn off that they can't do their challenge. or like I've got a setup where in the first turn of the entire match, I can have Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta enter the battle, double his attack, and then attack 3 times and do a Big Bang Kamehameha on every single hit.
Amazing.
And so it's like you come up with fun, crazy exploits, and I don't mind that. And so my recent one is I've got the like Royal Blue Vegeta, Ultra Instinct Goku, and Adult Gohan do this big team up where they shoot someone with a beam and he spins around the entire world. So it's like, I like it for the fan servicey thing, and once it does click, it's good.
Yeah.
But getting up to that point is really annoying and really tedious.
I feel like the whole world has Dragon Ball Heroes fever at the moment. Like, the promotional anime is readily available outside of Japan from whatever source or means you use to watch it, probably YouTube, like us. And then the game has like left Japan as well. Like, I feel like we've gone kind of fan fiction-y Dragon Ball Heroes, anything is possible kind of esque in the typical hero style, crazy.
Yeah,
like
floodgates
have opened.
We're ready to accept everything.
Yeah.
Like which is cool. I haven't bought physical Dragon Ball Heroes cards because I was getting so excited.
Oh, dude, that's sick. It would be cool if you could actually interact those cards like the arcade cabinets in Japan.
Yeah, like you can if you go to Japan, but
dude, I'm gonna have to try that. Did you do it?
No, because I didn't know how the game worked. But now that I do, I've got a decent idea of what cards are good. So like, it's funny. I had an idea of I'll make my deck from the game, and next time I go to Japan, I'll take that deck and bring it over because I know how it all works. Little did I know that my deck is the like current meta in the game, so it costs like $600 to get 7 cards.
Fuck.
And I was like, no. I will get some cards. I will not get those cards.
Fuck that, dude. I think when I go over there, FYI, fun fact, I'm going at the end of the month, everybody. So super excited for that. But I might just spectate somebody when I go over there.
Well, if you go to the cabinet, I saw it's $1 a card, and they give you a random card.
Really?
Yeah,
that's sick.
Yeah.
All right. Where was that? Tokyo?
Yeah, is that just any of the arcade cabinets? It's like you can play the game on it, or you can put money in and it gives you a card.
Well, I'm taking $1,000, so I'm just going to spend it all on that machine. Hopefully I'll get something good.
Yeah. You're not leaving until you get Ultra Instinct.
Yeah. Are they legit cards? They're fully bona fide legit Heroes cards?
Yeah.
Dude, that's sick. Oh my God. I'm going to go insane over there.
Yeah. I'll send you photos of some of the ones that I've gotten.
Dude, I'm going to go nuts. I'm going to get so much like retro gaming stuff. I'm going to get so much like Dragon Ball anime stuff. It's going to be so good. So keen. Anyway, we're getting a little bit off topic. We'll definitely have a whole episode about that when I get back.
Yeah, so debriefing.
Yeah, like we did on Pocket Edition for your last trip. So super keen. It's a shame we weren't going together. We'll have to line that up in the future though. Yeah, that'd be cool.
One day. It'll be a good sale. It'll be a good sale on again.
I thought you said Monday just then. I was like, all right, sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go. Fuck it.
I'll just quit my job.
I was like, that sounds good to me. Yeah, Monday's shit for me. So, anyway, Mark, let's move on to I almost said G-Fighterz, Dragon Ball FighterZ. Yeah, we've got some news for Dragon Ball FighterZ as well.
Yeah. So, as of today, so Goku Day, they launched GT Goku in Dragon Ball FighterZ. Some people have already exploited the game by not paying for the DLC by doing the new randomized arcade mode, which includes the DLC fighters. So everyone chooses Ginyu and body swaps with GT Goku, and then just plays as him.
Oh man, that's
which is kind of genius. Like I really love that.
Do you get his same skill set and all that kind of stuff? Or
you get his whole move list, everything.
Man, that's amazing. I love that. I love the community, man.
Like that's genius. Like I love that.
That's so
fantastic. Good. Like a little dishonest, but who cares?
Yeah. And this is interesting because it actually ties in with Goku Day news, which was teasing a big piece of news regarding potentially Goku or just Dragon Ball news. So this is a piece of news that came out just hot off the presses in the last few hours, correct? Or today?
Yeah. So GT Goku officially launched today.
Yeah.
And in Australia, thankfully, he's actually live. So I played him before the recording.
Awesome.
He's really interesting, really cool in the game, and did the Super Saiyan 4 Dragon Fist. Really cool thing, if you do his Super Saiyan, like the move that becomes Dragon Fist when everyone's down. If you do it before that, he does his sort of like punch through the chest that he did against King Piccolo in the original Dragon Ball to defeat him, because
That's
it's
cool.
because it's Kid Goku. And if you change to his Player 2 colors, he's wearing like a full red gi, like original Dragon Ball Goku. So
That's pretty cool.
They've
I
added
dig
in
that.
a few things, and people data mined a heck of a lot of audio files for level 4 Goku that aren't in the game, and people are confused.
What the fuck is... Every time we have Dragon Ball game news, there's
Yeah.
always data mines. Is there something wrong? Like, I feel like data mining is just running rampant with these games.
It's really easy for the Switch, apparently.
Oh, okay. So if this could translate to any game and any DLC in terms of data mining.
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
the easiest data mining apparently happens on Switch. So when something's multi-platform, people immediately like jump onto the Switch or on PC and just go through program files and data mine. And so in this data mine for GT Goku, there's all these files of Super Saiyan 4 Goku dialogue that no one can find. Like, it's all these win quotes and intro quotes. There's a 10 times Kamehameha, and people are really confused.
10 times
and it's also really interesting because Sean Schemmel puts on a sort of different tone for level 4 Goku than we've heard before. It's almost more Batman.
It's just more grungy.
It's a lot more like vicious,
gravelly.
Yeah.
Well, he did that for Black Goku as well.
Yeah, and so
which was cool.
So people are interested in that Goku showing up. I think it'd be awesome if we had an alternate skin for a character in his level 4 Goku.
Yeah, totally. That'd be cool.
But so that's what's going on for it, and they have the new GT Goku voice. It's not Kid Gohan anymore, like that same voice actor. They recast them for Xenoverse, and now they've used it for Dragon Ball Fighters as well. And they actually sound interesting. Like it's not the same, but it suits them more like as a different character.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's cool. Question mark.
Yep.
You own 2 copies of this game, correct? Of Fighters?
I own 3 copies.
Oh my god. All right, never mind. Okay, so my question was, what are you playing the most on?
I'm playing the most on PS4 because that's the first one that I got it for.
And the gamepad's better?
Because I didn't want to buy the season pass twice for the Switch, sort of thing.
Yep. So there's no cross saves or any shenanigans like that. So
no, I'd love if there was, but there isn't.
How are you treating the different versions then? Are you just playing Switch on the go with the different kind of, like, how does that work?
Yeah. So when the Switch one launched, I played it quite a bit just because there was no frame rate dipping at all, which was freaking amazing on a game like that.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
But and it is sort of like on the go when I do want to go on the go and everything like that. But since the Switch one came out, the PS4 like the Switch one had Switch exclusive features, like you could do 2v2 mode or 1v1 mode, because normally it's defaulted to 3v3. They've updated the PS4 version since to have all of those features, and so
that's
play a lot more PS4.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Fair enough.
But like it's perfect on any console, which I was very, very happy about.
Yeah, it's a super slick package. So credit to them for getting them out on so many different systems, and the frequency of DLC and all that, and just the quality and caliber of it in terms of being a fighter is really impressive. So
and at the end of the year, we're getting Gogeta and Broly. So
yeah, I mean, I would never be good at it.
Yeah, but it's beautiful to watch.
Oh, it's just fun. Yeah, it's just good. I wish I was good at it though. I'm just not very technically minded like that with, crazy skill sets and combinations and all this kind of stuff. It's just too much. It goes too deep with the meta, man.
Yeah, so like when it becomes a true fighting game rather than like an anime fighting game. Yeah, it can lose a lot of people.
I mean, I'm glad it is in that state. Because I feel like I can appreciate it more, but yeah, it's just I'm not very good with that kind of stuff. So
you can appreciate it, but you can't play it.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, Mark, is that about a wrap for our video game news this week?
Yep, pretty much.
Perfect. All right, let's switch gears and move into anime news. As I'm sitting here refreshing Google, there's still no news regarding Dragon Ball Super. Nothing of huge relevance that would be coming out on Goku Day. So again, stay tuned for the end of the episode, because if there is news, I'll append a little bit of a recording of myself discussing that news to the end of this episode. But Mark, what we do have, we have a couple of interesting bits of news, which were my big takeaways between recordings. Yep. But before we jump into those bits of news, I just want to clarify something from our last episode, being titled "The Disaster That Is Funnimation's 30th Anniversary Dragon Ball Z Box Set." And this is full credit to Jamie Toomey Live. I'm sorry, Jamie, if I didn't pronounce that correctly. I think that's how you pronounce it. We had a discussion in the comments where he brought to my awareness that I wasn't exactly clear regarding speculation and rumors that I was discussing. Now, to elaborate on that, I'll keep it as simple as possible. Over the course of our recordings, Mark, we've always discussed the possibilities, the rumors, and speculation of Toei remasters from the original reels of Dragon Ball for a series-wide remaster. Now, what we do have in that respect is the Dragon Ball movies, which came out at the end of last year. Toei Animation remastered the original Dragon Ball movies, and they're available on Netflix Japan and available for Blu-ray. And they looked incredible. They looked phenomenal. And there's been a lot of speculation and rumors that some high caliber people have covered, like Geekdom, which, claim to have inside sources, and a lot of the time he is very accurate with what he gets from those inside sources regarding a complete series remaster from the Toei Animation reels, which would essentially supersede anything Funimation have regarding their VHS masters. And with the announcement of the 30th anniversary box set that Funimation were trying to crowdfund and get support for, there was a lot of hope and speculation that hopefully, speculation mostly on my part, that those remasters would be Toei's remasters that have been rumored and speculated, like a series-wide remaster of the series from the Toei Animation reels. What I'd failed to do, though, was include in our last recording that this is all speculation and rumor. I was talking off the back of speculation and rumor that we discussed in previous episodes. And I did that because I forget that there's newcomers to these episodes that aren't aware of what we've already discussed, Mark. People who haven't watched every single episode, they don't understand that we're not talking from a point of speculation and rumor, even though we've made that clear in past episodes. So anything regarding a series-wide Toei remaster from the original film reels, is pure speculation and rumor, and to the best of our knowledge, it doesn't exist, and Funimation are seemingly not using any sort of footage that would be remastered from the reels. I think we're all aware of the shenanigans and drama surrounding that Dragon Ball Z 30th anniversary box set. It isn't quite up to snuff, and it's being shredded to bits by the community. So you have my word that I'll try to be more clear going forward with news and speculation and rumors, and we'll absolutely keep you posted on anything that Toei does announce or release or discuss regarding a Dragon Ball Z or a Dragon Ball series or a Dragon Ball GT series remaster from the original film reels. We'll keep you updated on that. But again, just to bullet point it, everything we discussed in the previous episode was off the back of rumors and speculation and the hope that Toei Animation were in fact remastering the series beyond just the Dragon Ball movies from the original film reels. So I hope that clears any confusion up that I generated in our last recording. So a big shout out to you, Jamie, for pointing that out to me, because I was completely unaware that I did that. And I promise to be more careful with my wording in the future and not operate off the basis of people have been listening to the episodes and they understand what we're talking about, Mark. So I just need to be more aware of newcomers coming, being a little bit confused, that we're just discussing points and continuing discussion from previous episodes. So thank you, Jamie, and good luck getting those Dragon box sets. Let us know how you go. Hopefully it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. But Mark, let's move along. Hopefully that made sense to you. What we do have today, though, is the home release for Dragon Ball Super Broly. Funimation seemingly can't do anything right at the moment. There's since the release of Dragon Ball Super Broly, there's been a lot of discussion and controversy that the home release has almost a green film or tint over it. And this has been basically all but confirmed by Anime J. If you're not aware of who Anime J is, he is very technical in terms of his image quality and animation. So he likes to dissect all of that in terms of anime. I take everything he says regarding animation and quality as gospel because he seemed incredibly on the ball. He's been sent in and he's dissected his own copy of the movie, and he's all but confirmed that all copies across the US have this green tint or film present. So basically what I mean by that is the theatrical version that we got and the home release that we have in the US, there's a discrepancy, and that discrepancy is that one looks more green. So the home release looks more green. Since this controversy has spilled out and it's basically run rampant and been a huge talking point through the community, Funimation has gone on record stating that their print version for the home release is the exact same theatrical release that the US and Canada got. So they're basically saying there's no difference. Yet, every home release that Anime J has been sent, including his home release, has a green tint or film over it present. I've seen these images. I don't know if you've seen them, Mark, but there is absolutely a green tint or tinge over the home release. Have you had a chance to have a look at that yet? Or
Yeah, I had a look. So
what did you think?
It's hulking out a bit.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do you think this is? What is it?
I don't know. It's like there's no real explaining how, like, out of all colors that could have, like, sort of intervened with sort of like a porting process. Why is it green?
It's really
you'd imagine that, like, if anything, there would have been like a color saturation or like a dulled thing, but green is like a complete other realm.
This is really concerning, isn't it? Because they're stating it's the same version as the theatrical release that, they got from Toei and they dubbed over and all that kind of shit. This is concerning because these guys are responsible for remastering the 30th anniversary box set. And if you can't simply export a home release version of Dragon Ball Super Broly from the theatrical release, how are you capable of handling a complete series remaster?
Yeah. They say, like, it would have been different still if, like, the theatrical version had that green tinge different to, like, the Japanese theatrical version. But no, like, our US theatrical.
It seems something's happened in the master process for actually exporting that to Blu-rays and DVDs. And again, I don't know about you, Mark, but I've never exported anything out of Premiere that's had a green tinge. Like, the settings are can be straightforward. I understand that you can have very custom export settings, but you would think I've not really seen this before.
Not unless I told it to.
No, which is very strange. So is this intentional, or is this a gross oversight or an incompetence? Like, I don't know what this is. And I don't think we ever will, because Funimation is saying that there's essentially nothing wrong. They're kind of seemingly dusting their hands of it, stating that it's the same version as the theatrical release. So I'm like, well, that might be so, but you've still exported it and it's got a green tinge.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to happen, if they're going to have to reprint or if they're just going to basically completely ignore the issue going forward.
Yeah, well, I think it'll even be more interesting still when the Australian home release comes, because it was like a 2-month difference. And the Australian home release might not have that issue.
Yeah, it's interesting. Very interesting, because everything we've seen has been US-based releases that have been handled by Funimation. So I'm not sure what I'm assuming the print copies we get will be created by Funimation Mark and they'll be imported by somebody else into Australia.
Yeah, like typically that's how it is, but usually then the release dates are much closer together.
Yeah.
So it's just strange.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I'd love to get hands on because I'm gonna be getting our copy when it comes out on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I'd love to actually have a look at it for myself because this is very interesting. It's very strange and very interesting because, like I said, it seems like incompetence, doesn't it? Because how is this an artistic choice to put a green tint or film over it? Like, we know Funimation love to oversaturate shit. They've been doing that for years. Like, they like to make Goku's gi look like a fucking Naruto colored gi. Like, they've been doing it for a long time, right? They love to oversaturate shit. But it's kind of concerning, again, when these guys are responsible for all Western releases, and especially remasters, and I use that term very loosely.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So, I don't know, man. I feel like it's just incompetence. Like, I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here. I'm going to try to remain calm so I don't mix any facts up or mislead anyone. But with my Dragon Ball Orange Brick box set, I know one of the biggest complaints with those is, one, they cropped it, so it looks like shit. It's not presented in the correct original aspect ratio, so you're missing footage, which is the 4:3. 2, they oversaturated it because apparently, I guess, colors are exciting and it's used for promotional material and it makes it look fresh. That's the only thing I can think of. And 3, there's been discussion surrounding that they jammed so many episodes onto those DVD discs that they had to compromise frame rate, which is insane. So I really question how competent Funimation's remaster and export team in terms of handling these exports of image, cuts onto DVDs and Blu-rays for these releases, how competent that team is. Because a green tinge, like, I just don't understand, man. I just don't get it. I don't know. So it's just concerning, but I guess we'll just move along. Unless you got anything else to say on that, Mark.
No, that's
we'll keep everybody updated, I guess. It's just kind of, I mean, it's not, I guess it's disappointing, but it's more concerning more than anything else. So,
for the state of affairs.
Yeah. It's like, how? And it's even more concerning that they've just kind of come out and said, like, it's the same release, guys. What are you talking about? And clearly there's a green tinge from everything I've seen from US releases anyway. But anyway, let's move along. Let's move into speculation regarding Goku Day news. So again, if we get any news, I'll append that to the end of this video. But Goku Day, Mark, May 9th, the original story goes as that in a Dragon Ball Heroes stream, there was a promotional image for Dragon Ball Heroes, and we got a second promotional poster which contained the the Shintani version of Goku, which is the look and aesthetics of Goku from Dragon Ball Super Broly. Shintani was the creator of that design. His version of Goku appeared on a promo poster, which was on a Dragon Ball Heroes stream, stating that big news will happen, or major news will happen on May 9th, which is today in Australia and Japan. The speculation is that because it's the Shintani Goku, is that it could be, and this is complete speculation, that it could be an announcement of the return for Dragon Ball Super. Because a lot of people have been believing, and I think it makes sense to believe and discuss that any form of Dragon Ball Super going forward will probably be in the same aesthetic as Dragon Ball Super. Would you agree with that, Mark?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Seems to make sense. They put all this, they put all this work into new character designs for the movie. They eliminated a lot of shortcomings and flaws with the original Dragon Ball Super models. So they basically completely overhauled everything regarding animation and models. They went in a whole new art direction, which I really liked. And again, to reiterate, the speculation is that because it uses Shintani's version of Goku, which is the Broly aesthetics, that this will probably be and hopefully tied to a return of Super announcement. And again, there's nothing concrete yet. It's all speculation and rumors. If I can reference a geekdom, he's been predicting the return of Super to come July based on his inside sources. He thinks, or he states that he's had multiple independent sources within Toei, voice actors stating kind of off record to him, on the grapevine type scenario, that they're working on Dragon Ball Super, call it season 2, everything after the Broly movie. So, and he's been claiming for a while now that we'd get a return of Super announcement at the end of April, all the way up to the middle of May. So Goku Day being today, May 9th, is probably a pretty good day to announce something like that. So again, that's just speculation, rumors, and if anything does actually drop today regarding an announcement or the return of Super, you can bet your fucking ass I'm going to be discussing that at the other end of this video, that it will be pended to the end. So yeah, what do you think, Mark? What do you think this is?
Yeah. Look, Super was probably always going to return. It's,
Absolutely.
Just a matter of when. And now's as good a time as ever. Just because Broly's run and done, hype's at its highest point. Like you said earlier, Dragon Ball Heroes is sort of on everyone's minds, and it's probably the best time to introduce new arcs because you're reading the manga, aren't you? And it's like they're doing their you're keeping up to date on what's sort of going on.
Yeah, generally,
and so they've introduced a new arc to it and everything like that, and new villains and stuff like that. So there's content to go off, even if it is just rehashing Broly for the time being, because there's a lot of content they can cover there.
Absolutely.
So yeah, like it'll be back sooner rather than later, and chances are it will probably be announced today, or at least some sort of announcement for an announcement. Because Japan likes to do that.
Oh no, dude, it's terrible. Oh man, yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? How can it not return? I mean, the painting, the drawing is on the wall. It's been so much insider kind of leaks for so many months now regarding that Toei's working on it. Of course, Toei's just been like, nah. There's nothing happening. We're not working on anything. We've got nothing to announce. We've nothing to say. Typical Toei, right?
Yeah.
They're so tight-lipped, but everybody else around them's like, nah, dog, they're working on it. So
that's exactly how the Japanese sound.
So we've had voice actors from around the globe stating that that stuff's happening. So. Hopefully today is the day that we get Super's return. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Like today, we're half over now, Mark. I'm going to go refresh the page one more time, see what comes up. Oh my God. No, it's not there. I'm just joking. We'll just have to wait and see, man. So yeah, I think it's absolutely going to be returning. I don't know whether it's going to be returning and cover the Broly movie and cover some of the cut script that Akira Toriyama did have. Because I think we all know that while it's an excellent movie, they could have spent more time just kind of going through the ins and outs of like Bardock, some of the history a little bit more. Because in comparison, which we're actually doing a comparison in this episode, we're going to be discussing and comparing Dragon Ball Super Broly to the original Bardock movie. And of course, giving it our 7 Dragon Ball review. So stay tuned for that in the second half of this episode. But back to the point, we know that they did probably have a lot more material that they could have presented on screen. They just had to kind of cut it down to actually fit it into like a more friendly cinema timeframe format. So it's interesting. We don't know if they're going to jump straight into the Moro arc or if they're going to continue with Broly with the anime. But I think it's safe to assume that no matter what, the anime will be coming back, because when it left and went off air, it was doing really well ratings wise, and it was generating some really good bank. Yeah. And with all the hype and the success of Broly as well, I think we can, I think it's, the cat's almost out of the bag. We know it's coming back. But again, stay tuned. So keep your eyes peeled on the internet today. Stay tuned for the end of the episode, because if anything does drop today, before I edit and publish this episode, if anything drops today, I will append it to the end of this episode. So hopefully we get something out of Goku Day regarding Super's return. But yeah, I think that's a wrap for news, Mark. I think we've wrapped it. It's a kind of a hefty one this week, which is nice. It is a hefty one. Yeah, which is nice. As we talked about though, Mark, and let us know what you guys think down below. There's always so many little nuggets of cool little tidbit information floating around regarding Dragon Ball. You know, whether it be video games, whether it be the manga, whether it be a tweet from an animator from the series doing their version of drawings and characters. What we're thinking about doing is doing a little bit of a roundup of those headlines, because they're not quite enough to really talk about, but it's cool stuff that gets published throughout the weeks between episodes. So what we might do is present those headlines to you guys, post some links down below in the description box for you guys to check out, because some of it's really cool. For example, Akira Toriyama recently had an interview regarding Dragon Ball's Broly characters being Limu and Sheila. He basically stated his love for those characters. So that's cool, because if he loves them, they're probably going to get covered in the future. He'll probably pen them in the manga down the line. So those characters are canon now. And they had an interesting relationship with Broly as well. So that kind of stuff is cool. So we might do a bit of a news headline roundup for you guys, present it in the form of links, and you guys can kind of go off on your own and check all that stuff out. So... And of course, we'll keep covering the real big stuff like we've already done in this episode and every other episode, the big talking points. But there really is just too much for us to cover, I think, Mark. So without getting bogged down for like 2 hours talking about all these little bits and pieces, and it's just going to get messy. So, so let's move in to the second half of this episode and change gears a bit, talk about Dragon Ball Super Broly and Bardock, the father of Goku. We're doing a bit of a comparison between those two movies. So stay tuned for the second half of this episode, and let us know what you thought of all of this news down below in the comments. But let's move into our brief musical break, and we'll see you guys on the other side.
Frieza's taken our loyalty and paid us back in our own blood. I thought there was a foul smell in the air, so you're the ones!
Welcome back, Dragon Ball fans, to the movie discussion segment of this episode. And as stated earlier in the episode, we're covering Bardock, the father of Goku. We're also going to be comparing it to Dragon Ball Super Broly, the Bardock moments from that movie. But to give you guys a brief little summary of the movie and synopsis of the story, Bardock, father of Goku, follows the last days of the Saiyan race as the veteran warrior Bardock fights to stop Frieza's evil master plan. Spoiler alert, he destroys Vegeta. Planet Vegeta, that is. It was originally released by Fuji Television in Japan. It didn't get a theatrical release, so there is no box office to report. It initially released on October 17th, 1990. Has an IMDb ranking of 8 out of 10. That's pretty good. And we received the Western release in November of 2000. So, interesting movie, Mark.
Yeah.
Really, really actually enjoyed this one. As we can see, it did quite well on IMDb. And I think it's going to do quite well in terms of my Dragon Ball rating as well. I think Bardock, the father of Goku, the original movie, is quite fond to many Dragon Ball Z fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a nicely little fleshed out piece of entertainment, isn't it? Because it's not a movie, is it? It's presented as an OVA. Which Mark, can you elaborate on that? I'm a little bit fuzzy on all that.
I always forget what OVA stands for exactly, but I always used to say original video animation, even though I don't know if that's right. But an OVA is sort of like an extended episode or an extra sort of thing that sometimes it's canon, sometimes it's not. In this case, it is canon, which takes place outside of the main Dragon Ball storyline because it wouldn't fit otherwise, but helps explain certain parts of it.
Yep. It's interesting because in contrast to the movies, the whole setup is completely different. There's no typical, reveal and setup of the villain, and there's no typical one-punch win for Goku. It flies contrast-wise in the face of the movies significantly, I think. And it's very interesting how they've handled Bardock and the origins of the Saiyans in the new movie as well, Dragon Ball Super Broly. Because, in my opinion, this might be controversial, I think they flesh out Bardock in a far better light than they do in the Dragon Ball Super movie. And they actually, he just gets more flesh out time for one, but I think his motives are a little bit more interesting and I think honest than what the Dragon Ball Super Broly character was. Because in the Dragon Ball Super Broly, Bardock is portrayed as being kind of just not really knowing why he loves his son. He's just like, I have an attachment to my son. I want to save him. And while that's cool, it kind of shines new lights on, I guess, Bardock on the dynamic between Gine, and maybe she's had a good influence on him and kind of changed him as a man. But I feel like, that whole aspect of wanting to save his son wasn't really present in the Bardock Dragon Ball Z movie. It was more he had that encounter with the alien that gave him the ability to see into the future. And the interesting aspect around that was it wasn't a good thing. Him being able to see in the future wasn't a good thing, and he wasn't even able to turn the events of the future. It was more of a curse, and it tormented him because he kept seeing his son being portrayed as not a Saiyan, being like this strange earthling doing strange things, and that tormented him and it troubled him. One, because he was seeing the future and he couldn't rationalize it, and two, he was seeing what he suspected to be his son. Yeah. And then, of course, he saw the demise of Vegeta, his planet, to Frieza. And that whole ability really set up an interesting dynamic for Bardock as a character. And I think we got to see him almost, I guess like an almost, I wouldn't call it purity because he's still a Saiyan, but it shifts the focus of him as a character to trying to stop Frieza, stop the destruction of the planet, to basically essentially save his son, even though he has no clue what's going on with his son in the future. Yeah. I liked that dynamic and presentation of Bardock more than what I did with Broly, I think. Because I think Broly's portrayal of Bardock was a little bit airy-fairy. Like, it was like, oh, that's nice. Like, he wants to save his son and he can't even quite rationalize it himself and all that kind of stuff.
I thought the portrayal in general of Saiyans might have played a bigger role in that between both movies.
Yeah.
Because in the original Bardock, like, the movie focuses on Bardock, obviously. But as, like, they were sort of the advanced unit for Frieza's force and sort of, like, used to exterminate planets and things like that. Whereas, like, in the Broly movie, they were, like, it was inferred that they were like that. But it was more like, like, you could get a stronger sense in the Broly movie that they were being forced into it and were
exactly.
Like it was a regime controlled by Frieza. It wasn't that King Vegeta actually held all that much power. It was fear of annihilation.
And look, there's aspects of it's hard to dissect, right? Because I'm talking purely from a Bardock perspective. Whereas the Broly movie handles other aspects of the Saiyans quite well. Like you said, like they're actually they're not being commissioned, they're enslaved into doing Frieza's bidding, right? And in certain aspects, it does it very well. Like Paragus, it portrays Paragus, I think, in a better light than what the original Broly movie did, right? It kind of elaborates and it fleshes that out more. And King Vegeta gets fleshed out quite well as well. So it certainly handles certain elements of the Saiyan history are better, but I just prefer the portrayal of Bardock in the original movie more so than what we'd got in Broly, because I felt like what we saw in the Bardock movie was more in line with his character in terms of how he progressed and actually did try to confront Frieza and ultimately save his son. And, he didn't just have this unquantifiable love for his son. That was never really present. Like, he wanted to save him and the Saiyans, but it's more realistic for a Saiyan character to not just go, I love my son, I want to save him. He was doing it for quite rational, straightforward motives, trying to save the planet in this movie. And that time, that being able to see the future basically just kind of clued him in as to what was going to happen. So, but Mike, have you got any more thoughts regarding that, or do you want to actually dive into some action sequence, the music? There's quite a few elements in this movie that I liked.
Yeah, we can dive into action.
Yeah, awesome. The music on this though, Mark, I've been noticing like it really gels well in this movie. Did you watch the Japanese or the English?
Japanese again.
Oh man,
all of the ones that I've got have got the English dub but Japanese audio.
Oh really? That's interesting.
It is interesting.
It's kind of like really upbeat, I guess, guitar and drum in this movie. So it's really fresh and jivey almost for a movie. It's high energy.
Yeah.
And it works really well for the Saiyans and their planet. Like the opening with Vegeta where he's training in that room has got a really cool guitar moment.
Yeah.
It's got really good energy about it though, this movie and its music, which works really well for the Saiyans and their planet, I think, as well. So it's just got really cool attitude to the music, which I really digged. Obviously, if you've watched it in English, you know what I'm talking about. But standout wise, I think in terms of action, it's cool, man. Like I remember watching this movie when I was young, and I think I loved this movie when I was young, mostly because it really did present something new to the series. It expanded upon what we knew had happened, but it really fleshed out some more lore and gave more depth to everything. And I think that's why I love this movie so much. Like it's really cool being able to see, Bardock and his gang of Saiyans being able to fight on other planets and to get to see Planet Vegeta. And there's something really fresh and awesome about that in terms of how it expands the lore and just seeing it. Yeah. But I think my standout action moment has got to be when Bardock discovers, after he's healed, from that initial battle at the start of the movie, after he's healed and he's found his crew just basically killed by Frieza's henchmen. And that scene where he finds them and he sticks on the blood-drenched rag around his head to tie his hair up, and then the music flicks over and he just goes ape shit, like on the guys that killed his team. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much the main action sequence in it, really.
Oh yeah, dude. He gets pwned after that.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, but for it, I thought it was interesting because Bardock's not really all that strong. Like, he is strong, but not like ridiculous.
Strong for a Saiyan.
Yeah, like he can't solve every single thing with a few hits. Like the grunts were a challenge to him, so he fought a bit differently. Like how he's like the sort of smoke screen. To trick the friend and stuff like that. Like.
Yeah, he actually used a little bit of wit and like everything to his advantage, which was interesting because he was outnumbered and he did really well. So he used his head.
He used his head, something you don't usually see in Dragon Ball.
Yeah, exactly. And then Goku literally uses his head.
Yeah.
It's there's not a lot of action in this movie. You're right. Like, there's not actually a lot of action, but what action that is present is actually really, I think, meaningful. Like, it's not like the other movies, man, where we watch everybody gets scrubbed by the enemy, just basically pounded into the ground. Yeah. And then we see Goku get a power boost at the end and one-fisted away. Yeah. And while there are some cool moments in those scenes, like some well-animated moments and choreography of the action can be good, these battles have more meaning and substance.
It's not a set piece. It's telling a story.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think that's present throughout the entirety of this movie. It's driven by this fact that we know Planet Vegeta gets destroyed. We know the ending, but it's about telling what led up to that, and Bardock being that point for the audience that it's conveyed through, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where that meaning comes from. And I think the battles carry that weight as well. And especially seeing some of the characters like, I've forgotten their names, Zarbon and what's the pink guy's name? Dodoria. Seeing those characters and knowing how powerful they are in the anime as well, and watching Bardock go up to them, there's something very it almost feels like you get that fan servicey moment. Like that wasn't the intention, but that's what I feel like. That's what I want to see. I want to see these guys go at it against Goku's dad. Like that's awesome. And there's just so much more to this movie, or I don't want to call it a movie, but OVA, whatever, special, the Bardock special. There's just something more to this movie, which is just I think superior in a lot of ways to the Dragon Ball Z movies.
Yeah, and like the biggest part about it is that it's canon, and you can tell a lot more efforts put into the narrative because of it.
Well, I mean, the only unfortunate thing is that it's seemingly a lot of it's been retconned now.
Yeah, unfortunately,
which is kind of shitty. And I mean, well, let's talk about what could have been cut from Dragon Ball Super Broly. Do you think there's a lot of room for this to still exist within those cuts that were made in the original script?
I think there's room for it to exist, but they still need to sort of like it's more like a timeline thing that they need to work on, because the end of Bardock and the sort of start of Broly sort of overlap awkwardly. So you could sort of draw a timeline a little clearer. Yep. And have it.
Yep.
So it's like Bardock could return in, say, in Broly, like when he came back to Vegeta, and warn people about things that are actually going to come down. And then Gine would obviously believe Bardock.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, instead of him sort of going like, I've got a weird feeling about this.
Yeah, I've got a weird feeling, and I love my son, and I think we should send him away on a hunch. A hunch.
Yeah.
He sends his son away on a hunch, dude.
Yeah, like he should show up because, hey, guys tried to kill me. We should probably leave.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, I'm not overly upset. I just think, again, I think the portrayal of Bardock is superior and better in the special that we got from Dragon Ball Z.
And also his Saiyan armor looks so good in the original.
Oh, yeah, and that fucking bloody rag he puts on, like, dude, so badass, so cool. But I don't know, it's interesting. Like, obviously, it has been retconned, most of it, unless we get like an extended cut of the movie. But I don't think that's going to happen, because there was a lot of story and script that got apparently cut out of Akira Toriyama's original penning of it. Again, to fit a more friendly form factor for theaters. And they're not going to invest all that money to animate all that stuff and cut it all together. Like, that's a lot of time and money. If anything that might happen in the series, if they want to recover it, like we saw with the Resurrection of F and Battle of Gods, we got a little bit extra in there, which would be nice. It would definitely be nice if they flesh out Bardock a little bit more, because I feel like there is plenty of room to do that. And again, but obviously there's certain things we can't take back, right? Like his motivations for wanting to save his son. Like, the whole time seeing the future thing is absent. Which is cool. That's really cool. Like, a sci-fi dude stabbed him in the back of the neck and he can fucking see the future, and that's how we rationalize him knowing that Frieza's going to destroy the planet, you know? Yeah. It's awesome. So, I don't know, Mark. I think we've kind of covered all of it, really.
Yeah.
A really cool movie. Both movies are really, really, really cool in their own right. I personally believe Bardock as a character was portrayed in a better fashion and light in the original Z special. But each to their own. You know, you might like the super version. That's perfectly fine. You know, whatever gels with you and whatever clicks with you is cool. Let us know down below in the comments, though. And who knows, maybe someday we'll see Bardock get fleshed out a little bit more in either another cut of Dragon Ball Super Broly presented in the anime, or another medium, perhaps. But Mark, give me your Dragon Ball rating, sir. 7 out of 7. What is your rating?
You just said 7 out of 7.
A potential, Mark. It better be a 7. No, just joking. You can be whatever you want, Mark. No ill will.
Yeah, all right. Maybe I will. Probably 6 out of 7.
Very nice. Very nice. I'm just going to fucking throw caution to the wind and fuck it. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 7 Dragon Balls. I dig this movie, Mark.
Yeah,
it's
I
a
know
cool
you do.
movie. Yeah. I don't know. Like, there's reasons why I probably could deduct a few points or a half Dragon Ball off, but I wish it was a little bit longer. I wish there was a little bit more action, but in comparison to the other Dragon Ball Z movies, it's a bloody good journey in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's not the typical journey of getting pwned, Goku saving the day with a one hit, generic bad guy. We know the bad guy. He's Frieza. We don't need context. He's a bad, evil dude.
Yeah.
We know Planet Vegeta gets destroyed. We know the ending. And it's about the journey that takes us to those, the beginning and the end. Yeah. And I think Bardock is a bloody awesome way of doing it. And I thought that he was a really cool character throughout the special. And I totally dug the whole time element of him being able to see the future. It wasn't a gift. He realized at the end it could be a gift if he could leverage it, but it was too late. But it was more a point that enabled him to go about a certain set of actions to try and stop Frieza, but it mostly tormented him. So I really dug a lot of aspects of this movie. So 7 out of 7 from me, Mark.
All right.
Yeah, not many. I don't think I've given many 7 out of 7. I think the last one I gave a 7 was The World's Strongest, which was also a really cool movie.
Yeah, you were really pumped for that after we watched it.
Yeah. Mark, what about next week? We continue with the specials and we watch the Future Trunks specials.
Yeah, History of Trunks.
History of Trunks. Let's do that. Let's get into that one next week. So that could be really cool too. So History of Trunks will be, if we record next week, we're going to see if we can squeeze one in. It's very dependent on Mark's schedule at the moment. He's radically, he's a mess. His work life has radically changed. He's working a lot more. So we're going to try and get it back to a weekly consistent thing. It might be a little bit sporadic for the next, probably really throughout this month. Because I'm going to Japan at the end of the month. Mark's trying to work out his work life. I get back June 7th. Hopefully, though, we squeeze in at least one more, hopefully 2 more before I go away, and then we'll probably have a couple of weeks off while I'm away in Japan.
Yeah, and then when you come back, debriefing. Debriefing, and we'll probably have a lot of news to cover as well. So probably,
which that's going to be a big episode. But yeah, let us know what you think down below with regard to everything we've covered in this episode, the news, what you thought of Bardock in Dragon Ball Super, Broly, what you thought of him in Dragon Ball Z, the movie. Be sure to listen to the very end of this episode, because if any news does pop up regarding the return of Super and news that comes out today, Goku Day, May 9th, I'll absolutely be discussing that at the end of this video if that news surfaces. So be sure to stick around for that. But as per usual, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Be sure to leave your comments below. Remember to rate, comment. I've already said comment. Just remember to rate and subscribe, I guess. Be sure to check out the rest of our channel. We cover a lot more on GameCast, the YouTube channel, mostly video game related stuff. And we have other podcasts, so be sure to check that out. But until the next episode, though, guys, have a good one.